Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to say, call aloud Yim Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of the great millstone who taught us this truth. All right, double honors to them. Shalom and salutations to the hopeful elect Akim out there spreading the gospel throughout the four corners of the earth. In sincerity and truth, and present your body as a living sacrifice, as the scriptures teach us to do. All right. Shalom to the very few sisters that do listen up as well, and I do mean very few. I'm the brother Yaramiah from the Great Millstone Chicago camp. Basically, I'm coming back to you with another lesson. This lesson is segueing off the one I did this morning about judgment, and reincarnation. All right, which we both know to be true. Now, the Lord put the nation of Israel into slavery because of their sins. All right. Being you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. And that's how your seeds been scattered abroad anyway, for the most part. That, may look like the other nations. But you jakes from that so-called black, Latino, or Native American line, the apple of the Lord's eye, Yahshua Allah, he Prince Power. The Lord put the so-called white man, the Elamite man, the Arab man, all right, the Ishmaelite, all right, the Elamites, those those filthy Indians, all right, taking a fucking milk bath with rats, based as fuck, man, eating cheese with the rat, literally. Worshiping them as God. All right, these heathens, as the book of 2nd Ezra says, that's ever been reputed as nothing. The Lord put them over us. All right, because that was our judgment. But now he's setting us back up. The scriptures say he's setting us in order before our eyes. So now it's their judgment because they back. All right, Yahweh Shai himself said, I will look upon, matter of fact, I'm going to just get this. If these people ain't back to suffer their judgment in the reincarnation, I'm just going to go really into the slavery aspect of it. But why would the Lord Yahweh Shai say this? And on his return. This is Revelations 1 and verse 7. It says, Behold, he cometh with the clouds, and every eye shall see him, and they also which pierce him, even all the kindreds of the earth shall bewail because of him. Even so, Amen. Because those men are going to be back today to suffer their judgment for putting their fucking hands on Yahweh Shai. Putting their hands on, that's literally what he said. He's going to bring you back just to deal with you. That's why the scripture said, fear not that him that can kill the body, but him that can kill the body and the spirit in hell. He's going to bring you back to deal with you. All right? Here we go. This is Salaki, I had lost it, turning the pages. This is Revelations 13 and verse 9. It says, If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the faith. Salaki, here's the patience and the faith of the saints. So they killed us with the sword. They cut our dicks off. The so-called Arab man, the Ishmaelite, and our people's been scattered abroad in all them nations. But the physical bloodline of the so-called them Ishmaelites took us and cut our rods off. Castrated us, man. All right, made us watch their women. They come to the ghetto, have sex with your woman. Give her a pack of cigarettes, have sex with these little 12-year-old black girls in the back, get them to suck their dick for a pack of cigarettes. Get juice, 50-cent juices, man. You niggas shaking up GD with them, man. Talk about salam alaikum, salam, with a fucking kufi on, man. These Arabs have to go into slavery, man. All right, these Arabs sold you to the so-called white man right along with the Africans. That's why it says in Joe, it shows you that on that movie Roots. It showed old Tyree and old Zidon and all the coast of Palestine. All right, have you showed the children of Judah and Jerusalem to the Grecians? All right, these filthy ass Africans, them Africans going into slavery, man. All right, Chinese too, Japanese too. All right, right along with the so-called white man. But see, they're going to get their land back. They're going to serve us in servitude. All right, and Esau just ultimately going to be dealt with. He's just going to be burnt up away, you know, after he served his sentence, which also proves judgment. You got to do the time, nigga. You did the crime. All right, you put Jake, that's another thing. Esau put your ass on. I've been to the penitentiary, man. You know, nothing to glorify, no shit like that a couple times, but I've seen what Esau does firsthand to niggas, man. Hey, shit, his brother's just locked up right now. Hey, the so-called white man gotta go. You know, the atrocities that he just brought, putting crack in a ghetto. You know, that's why the scriptures go into that hard bondage where you need to serve. Yeah, because we got our dicks and shit cut off back in the slave days, burnt alive. Look at Emmett Till Mobley, man. The Lord is righteous, man. Nobody paid for none of that shit. It's a judge right now that gave a nigga 100 years, went and made a motherfucking sandwich. Didn't nothing happen to him. Probably for some shit a nigga didn't even do. Decreeing unrighteous decrees. All right? So all you niggas talking about the heathen can make it, you have no clue how bitch made you sound. I'm going to get back to it, man. Salaki if I'm ratting, but, man, you niggas got to really understand what these heathens doing to us, man. This is Revelation 13:9. It says, if any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the fate of the saints. All right? He got to go. This is Lamentations 4:21. Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, that dwelleth in the land of Uz. The cup also shall pass through unto thee. Thou shalt be drunken, and thou shalt make thyself naked. The punishment of thy iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. And that's you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right? In this captivity under these heathens. He will no more carry thee away into captivity. He will visit thine iniquity, O daughter of Edom. He will discover thy sins. All right? And that's what the Lord is doing. He discovering this man's sins, man. He's going to zap him. That's why he got to bring back the chariots of the Lord. That's why this Edomite Trump, Nero, all right, which we believe he Nero back in the reincarnation through the spirit and power of the Lord. He wants the Space Force, the extra branch of the military. All right, why? Because they know they coming back to get judged. They know this is true, man. This only a farce. Hey, he said a sign. This Tyrese, that nigga wicked. But you know, even the garbage can get a steak. He ain't stupid. He an Israelite. He made that song Sweet Lady. You know, the couple more excited, that nigga Tyrese. But that nigga Tyrese said it. He made a post on Twitter or something the other day, and everybody was resharing it and saying, he said, Noah sounded stupid till he didn't sound stupid no more. Or he sounded strange till he didn't sound strange no more. They didn't believe that was coming. But why would he say that? Hey, the Lord said, as in the days of Noah, so shall the coming of the Son of Man be. See, the white man ain't getting away with shit anymore. And the Lord is finna come and do this motherfucker in, man. He gonna get that judgment. Matter of fact, let me get this real quick. This is Isaiah 26:20. It says, come, my people, enter thou into thy chambers and shut thy doors about me. Hide thyself in what but for a little moment until the indignation be overpassed. So that goes into us physically going into the chariots, man, being beamed up. All right, and it says till the indignation be overpassed, till the Lord done frying this bitch. That's why in Revelations, when he said he looked down, he said a sea of glass mingled with fire. It says, for behold, Yahweh cometh out of his place to punish the inhabitants of the earth for their iniquity. The earth shall no more disclose her blood and shall no more cover her slain. So the so-called white man's sins are about to be discovered. As it says in Isaiah 40, they already, all right, being exposed by the prophets. And that's why you got to get out here and preach the word, man, in sincerity and truth. That's why this goes in the Thessalonians with what? The brightness, destroying them with the brightness of her coming. The Salaki, the brightness of his coming. All right, which goes into us exposing them with them words and ultimately him coming back and zapping them in the chariots. Just like Wisdom of Solomon, the 5th chapter. He going to what? How we was in captivity. Matter of fact, let me get this real quick. And I'm going to get back to it. This is Wisdom of Solomon 5:1. It says, then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness, this destroying him with the brightness of his coming, as it says in Thessalonians. It said, before the face of such as have afflicted him, and made no account of his labors. What is that account of his labors? His hard bondage wherein he was made to serve. All that shit y'all did to us, man. Every idea you stole from us. I tell this all the time. They ain't make shit in Babylon the Great, but niggas in the patent office to steal from them. Fuck you heathens, man. It said, when they shall see it, they shall be troubled with fear. Salaki, with terrible fear, and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation so far beyond all they looked for. And that's starting with them, with us gathering back together the two sticks. All right, you so-called Latinos. All right, you so-called Native Americans getting with the Negroes and pushing this word throughout the four corners of the earth. Man, call out me about Shemal Shah. As soon as I said it was 144. This man going to fuck down, man. But you know, so far beyond all they look for, us coming, you know, acknowledging Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah, us knowing his name, us coming back into the truth, which all goes back to the bulk of this, reincarnation. All right? It says, and they repenting and groaning for anguish of spirit shall say within themselves, this was he, whom he had sometimes in derision, and a proverb and a reproach. We fools accounted his life madness, and his end without honor. How is he numbered among the children of Yahweh, and his lot among the saints? See, his lot coming back into the reincarnation. All right? So we was made to serve a hardcore bondage. That has to come back on this man. This has to happen to him. All right, he broke us. Why do you think the Lord got it on his spirit right now to cuck out? What would make a man want to make a man have sex with his wife in front of him while he dealing with himself in the corner somewhere in the closet or just watching with his hands tied? Because they did that to us, man. They forced it on us. But look how the Lord plagued this nigga's mind. The Lord got a plague on this demon's mind, man. That's poetic justice. It's wicked as all hell. But that's what happened. Look how they put us on drugs. I grew up in the 90s. I seen them sell the Pampers. Then the baby for the crack. Now look at them. On Fetty Wap, no. Through. You know? This is 2nd Ezra 6 in verse 57. It says, matter of fact, This is 2nd Ezra 6 and 55. It says, all this have I spoken therefore, O Yahweh, because thou madest the world for our sakes, as for the people, as for the other people which also come of Adam, thou hast said that they are nothing, but be like unto spittle, and thou hast likened the abundance of them unto a drop that falleth from a vessel. It's like you washing the car. We used to bring this analogy out all the time. You know, and this little shit spill, 144 call on me about Shem Shah, and a little drop spill. You don't care about that. You ain't never seen a nigga wash a car and try to vacuum this concrete up and get this water back and put it in the bucket. You know? That's how the Lord feel about these heathens. And right before this, he said we all come about him. See? But the Lord chose Israel. And that's why all you motherfuckers hate us. It said, and now, O Yahweh, behold, these heathen, which have ever been reputed as nothing, have began to be lords over us and to devour us. They've been devouring us, man. But we have the people, Salakia, but we the people, will we thy people whom thou hast called thy firstborn, thy only begotten, and thy fervent lover, are given into their hands. If the world now be made for our sakes, why do we possess not an inheritance with the world? How shall this endure? Because the world to come is ours. You know, that's really the answer to it, the kingdom of heaven. But see, we went off and the Lord put us in this man's hand. The Lord, you know, the kingdom of heaven is ours, you know. These people are, and that's going to be right here on this earth. But see, it's Esau's time to rule. You know. But this man, look. Let me just, I'm gonna get this. This is the book of Psalms. This is the book of Psalms. Let me see. It's 82, 83. This is Psalms 83. It says, keep not thou silence, O Yahweh, hold not thy peace, and be not still, O Yahweh. For lo, thy enemies make a tumult, they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. And I gotta quote the brother Ariala, man. They hate us because they ain't us. All right. See, have taken crafty counsel. It said they have said, come, let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Yasharallah may be no more in remembrance. They have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. The tabernacles of Edom and Ishmael and Salak and the Ishmaelites and Moab and the Hagarenes. See, the so-called white man, the Arab, the Chinese man, said Gabal and Ammon and Amalek. You know Amalek. Look, we know Amalek is the Matson man. Ammon is the so-called Japanese man. These are, look, the Philistines and the inhabitants of Tyre. Those are Arabs and Africans, man. All right, all these are heathens that's being named. And this is what it says, assure also join with them, have they hoping the children of Lot. All right, go to the Israelites, man. The heathens versus the Israelites. That's all it's ever been. All right, you see it named. You got Ishmael and Edom up in here a couple times, man. I fucking hate them, man. Ishmael got to go. But nevertheless, you see, you know, you got all these heathen nations. That's why they got gas stations. You know, they get us Elamite, a 7-Eleven, a Dunkin' Donut. 50 years ago, that would have been something else. That would have been owned by a Jake. You know, they give them Subway. You know, they give you Arabs all the gas stations. They give you Koreans all the nail shops. You going into captivity, man. That's it and that's all. You got these Africans braiding your hair, these filthy Africans, which we are not. You know, even though a lot of our people are, you know, mingled. A lot of our people are over there, especially the bulk on West Africa. Then you got tribes down through the southern part, like the Limba tribe. Them Levites, man, you know. But you physical Hamites, like Goliath, for example, in the Bible, you getting slaughtered by the house of David, for example, in the Bible. Nigga. This is Isaiah 14. This is Isaiah 14 and 20. It says, thou shalt not be joined with them in burial, because thou hast destroyed thy land and slain thy people. The seed of evildoers shall never be renowned. So it wasn't meant for this man to get anything. Prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquity of their fathers. See that? Reincarnation. The son don't die for his father's sins. You come back in the regeneration. All right? Because you are your forefathers. It said they do not rise, nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. For I will rise up against them, said the Lord of hosts, and cut off from Babylon. And that goes in them. That's talking about America. Mystery Babylon the Great, that great whore that sits on many waters. Like King David prophesied in the Psalms, he said, by the rivers of Babylon we sat, going into our captivity. It says the name and remnant and son and nephew said Yahweh. You see that? Which proves the bloodline go through the man too. That also proves that. So it wasn't made for none of these heathens to rule. And right now the so-called white man is the spearhead of this rulership. But he's going to go down. And the heathens under him as well. Because right now it's our turn. What that nigga say, you got fat while we starved. It's our turn. Frank White. That's a way better, more gangster movie than this bullshit Scarface that everybody portrayed. But you gotta watch that King of New York. You like gangster movies? That's my favorite one. I hate that punk ass Scarface bullshit. That degenerate nigger. Yeah, bro. Rala, Benji, we always used to talk about it back in the day. That bitch ass nigga wasn't shit. Jake glorified that. But no, but that clip in King of New York, you got fat while we starved. It's our turn. That's gonna happen, man. His man got fat. And off the blood, and off our blood and sweat. Look at what he doing right now. See, Jacob's trouble is coming, man. He gotta come down with one real last, that death blow, and the Lord's gonna get his ass. That's why the scriptures say when the enemy come in like a flood, the spirit will lift up a standard. The Lord, we want his punk ass to come. I want him to come down with his wrath, man. So Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai can show him who he is. And they say, no longer will the Lord thy power deliver you out of the land of Egypt, but out of the land of the north. But he's going to give his elect men that power. I want to beat this nigga down, man. Punk ass nigga. You got to be a punk. The so-called white man bug broke you. Put a pillowcase over your head, made you freak your mama, made you freak your sister sometime, didn't do that. Hey, watch that movie Goodbye Uncle Tom. Not playing, man. This is 2 Ezra 6 and 9. It said, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. Salakia. I'm going to start at, yeah. 2 Ezra 6 and 6. It says, then did I consider these things, they all were made through me alone and through none other. But by me also they shall be ended, and by none other. Then answered I and said, what shall be the part in the son of the times? When shall be the end of the first, or the beginning of it that followeth? And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born, Jacob's hand healed first the heel of Esau. This is all about Jacob and Esau. Those heathen I just named, they ain't conglomerate Esau, but they just the extras. That's why after they get they judgment and they ass whooped with that 1,000 years of real hardcore ass whooping, you know, because they're going to be in servitude for eternity, all these nations under Israel, and that's going to be real rulership. And like the beloved elder apostle Tahar say, that's going to be blessed. Blessed. You're going to be blessed then when you have real slaves, you know. It says, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. The man of the is betwixt the heel at the hand of the question Ezra asked thou not. So they're gonna fall in line just like they fall in line with the so-called white man, and they doing wickedness. And they, you know, like the beloved Elder Malcolm would say, you know, cat and dog for pet, it ain't for consumption. You know? The Chinese, the so-called white man, let them do. They ain't doing that in the kingdom. You know? You ain't popping up Baba Ganesh and Shiva and all that shit in the kingdom. Buddha. We gonna bash your fucking head in. With the mace. The elders brought that out on Sunday. But nevertheless, you know, hey, he said Esau was put by in 2nd Ezra 3:16. So you devils gonna pay, man, and all you other heathens as well. And that proves that reincarnation will have to be real, or the Lord wouldn't be righteous. And we know that the Lord is righteous in all his judgments, and he's the most righteous. He's the creator. But nevertheless, with that being said, I want to say, call Alayim Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem B'Kakadash. Double honor to the apostles and the elders of the great millstone who brought us this truth, man. All right, double honors to them. Shalom and salutations to the hopeful elect. I came out there spreading the gospel as well. All right, the hopeful elect. With this lesson, look, if the Lord gave you the ability to be in this truth, hey, the scripture said, whatever thou findest thy hand to do, do it with all thy might. You want to be a partaker in this, man. You want to get on the chariot. You want to come down on the chariot. You want to have superpowers. Or what they call superpower. That's spiritual power, real virtue. All right, the Lord Yahweh Shai said greater works than these. You want to be a partaker of this on the right-hand side because it is coming. All right. So you got to do the work. The Lord revealed this knowledge to you. You do the work, man. Because this fucking place about to go down, man. But with that being said, call aloud, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakadash, double honors to the apostles and the elders of the great millstone who told us this truth. Shalom and salutations to the hopeful elect. I came out there. Endure.